Up next, Miss Lois Johnson will introduce Reverend Ardrey.
Please allow me to share that after emancipation, churches were established for Black communicants of the diocese. Across the church, white Episcopalians debated whether Southern Black congregations should be admitted to the full union with their Southern counterparts, or whether they should be included in missionary districts under the bishop's oversight. To their credit, the Diocese of North Carolina was the only Southern diocese to accept Black clergy and congregations. Two churches in the Charlotte Convocation, St. Michael and All Angels, and Chapel of Christ the King remain as missions today. The diocese, under the leadership of Bishop Sam Rodman, continues to right so many wrongs. First hiring Reverend Kathy Walker, Canon Missioner for Black Churches, and now Reverend Lindsey Ardrey, Canon Missioner for Reparations and Restitution. Reverend Lindsey lives in Durham, but before coming to North Carolina, Reverend Lindsey served as the Children's and Youth Minister, school chaplain, and co-chair for the Racial Reconciliation Commission of Louisiana. Reverend Lindsey, in addition, is a deep believer in healing as a vital medium for issues stemming from race. She will play a key role acknowledging the destructive legacy of slavery, and with white supremacy, seeking restitution and healing, so we may better embody Christ's beloved community. It is with pleasure we welcome Reverend Lindsey Ardrey.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am the Reverend Lindsey Ardrey, and I am grateful to be here with all of us on the screen, those of us who have our cameras turned off, those of us who are joining from our beds or the kitchen. It is such an honor to be here. I usually start these things by doing a version of a introduction of myself. I am Lindsey, and without the Reverend, I am a daughter, I am a sister, I am a granddaughter, I am an auntie, I am a plant lover, I am a godparent. I am a lover of books and of stories. And so I'm going to start my time with you with a little bit of a story. And so if you could grab the posture of listening to a good story, that'll get us started. There once was a woman who looked upon rows and rows of fabrics, chose just the right ones, and fashioned the finest robes, dresses, pants, and jumpsuits for the people she loved. There once was a woman who sat in her designated phone chair and called her sisters and nieces, nephews, brothers, children, and friends to see how they were doing. There once was a woman who taught generations of students in the Raleigh school systems and extended that teaching to her children and grandchildren. There once was a woman who could put a hurtin' on greens and cabbage that nourished her community. There once was a woman who sent checks of $15, $25 on every birthday and special holiday. or would slip a $20 bill into your hand just for some spending change or a little bit of gas money. There once was a woman who might, on occasion, talk noise behind your back, but make sure that you had everything you needed to face the world. There once was a woman who loved her God, her church, and her family so fiercely that her fervent prayers still are protecting them even after her death. Now, that woman is Estella Hooper Curry. And since we're still on the heels of All Souls and All Saints Day, and just hearing the roll of names listed before, I thought it fit to conjure her memory, my grandmother, the memory of her legacy here with all of these church women tonight. Because when I think of ECW, I can't help but think of her, the impact that she had on me, and the mighty strength of all women in the church. I am here tonight because of her and a host of other ancestors. I am the recipient of everything that made them human, their loves, their flaws, their joys, their idiosyncrasies, their triumphs, their habits and patterns and pathologies, their faith in God and love for Jesus. But I am also the recipient of their prejudices, the oppression they faced, the fears they held close to their hearts, and the grief that they experienced. And all of this resides in my body, in my blood, in my cells. And the same goes for all of us who are gathered here tonight. All of those who will be watching this later. We have a lineage and a familial history rich in stories of what it means to be human. And that is woefully imperfect people marked by trials. For many of us, our inheritance is this church, an organization led by these very humans. And as we continue as a diocese to contend with the legacy of a complicated and often tough history, we begin to expand our vocabulary to include words like reparations and restitution, and begin a ministry to explore what this work looks like, to ask hard questions with no one right answer. What redress is to be made for a society that saw it fit to own the bodies of other humans? Or, like poet and musician Scott Heron asked, who will pay reparations on my soul? What spiritual and psychic wounds need our tending? This and so much more, this is what we will be exploring together for the next several years. And it seems right to me that I am speaking to you, the women of the church, 1 week before diocesan convention and the official rolling out of this ministry. Because we women are the originators. We are the bearers of life and the generators of lineages and cultures and societies. And I know that when we put our passion, our zeal, and our singular focus into something, you know what happens? It gets done. It gets done. Mouths get fed, backpacks get filled, churches get built, and you know what? Altars get set. And I would like to add two new things to the list. We can add that traumas get resolved, wounds become healed. When women get together, when they put their minds to it, traumas will get resolved and wounds will become healed. And so tonight, I am petitioning you. I am inviting you into this ministry, no matter where you are in your journey, no matter how prepared or how worthy you think you are, no matter your age, no matter how young or old you are or feel. You are invited. And now, next week, we will have offerings for you from this ministry, offerings for you and anyone else interested. So tune into convention and check our website, but just know this, that our main asset, our main resources will first be God and will second be each other. We will have spaces for folks to gather quarterly to talk about the road ahead. We will release a new history, well, an old history heard in a new time, in ways that we can pray through it together, ways that we can breathe through it together. And through all of this, we will move at the speed of trust and no faster. And so I thank you for your time, and God bless you.
I would like to acknowledge and thank Reverend Ardrey for her presentation. We are so grateful for such an interesting beginning. Your storytelling intro was quite unusual. I really wasn't sure where you were headed, but I am certain that the inspiration will enable us to join you in the ministry. Again, we thank you very much for the challenges.